Hey, assalamu alaikum, and welcome to this week's episode of the Courtship Code, brought to you by Black Muslim Single Society and hosted by me, Zara J. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful week and that you had a wonderful weekend as well. We're coming into the fall. If you haven't already enrolled your profile into our system, we right now have a special right now for those who are trying to head into cuffing season. Of course, it's cuffing season right now. So you can put your profile into our system for only $29.99. That's $10 off the regular price. With the code Fall in Love. So head over to blackmuslimsinglesociety.com, type in the discount code Fall in Love under the profile enrollment and get your profile in our system. The more profiles we have, the easier it is for us to work with people and have more options for matching. And we love the people who are already in the system and already are a part of our matchmaking society, and we love our premium members as well, of course. But make sure that you have your profile and tell a friend, tell a family member, whoever, because you never know. We keep your profile on file for 24 months. So with the basic profile listing, it is kind of sporadic when you get matches. You know, it is a little bit of a waiting game, but you never know when you're going to meet. And we have absolutely had our basic members meet and marry some of our premium members. So our profile listing membership is the immediate resource that we use when it comes to finding matches for our members. So make sure that you have your profile in the system and use that code Fall in Love in order to get a discount. As always, if you're listening on the Anchor app, make sure that you hit that star so that you are favoriting us and you get notifications and updates for any new episodes. If you're listening on our new YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, engage with us. The more you guys engage, let us know, your thoughts on the topics. You share with us, any comments that you might have, or share with your friends and family members, invite them to engage and all. We know what type of content you're looking for. This is free content straight from the heart to make sure that you guys have all the goods. So make sure that you share, comment, like, give us feedback. Thank you to everyone who gives us feedback in our Instagram DM, Black Muslim Single Society, or that comments on Black Muslim Single Society's social media pages, so that we know that you're enjoying the show. And thank you to those also who send in emails to us via the website or via our newsletter and reply to the newsletter and let us know that you're enjoying the show. So thank you guys so much. This week we are going to be talking about 5 major keys when it comes to long distance courtships and long distance relationships. And these 5 tips, honestly, you can use for relationships or courtships or marriages even that are in close proximity, but they're kind of tailored specifically to long distance situations, because long distance situations, they can be a little bit more challenging. It can cause you to have to utilize different skills and different tools that it might take a little bit longer to pull those aspects out of you when you live in close proximity of someone. You're actually able to see them, spend time with their friends, their family, whoever. So a long distance courtship is a little bit more of a challenge, but it's totally possible. So if you are in a long distance situation, or you have a friend or a family member or someone, this is the podcast for you or for them. So make sure that you share the content and get this, because we're definitely going to give you 5 major keys that I know personally work in order to bring success, and that many others use as well. Now, first of all, let's just put it out there. Long distance courtships or relationships is no longer taboo. So if you have a very negative mindset towards it, it's okay if it's not for you and it's not something that you prefer. It is a challenge. It does require a lot of moving pieces. It does require a lot more trust, a lot more time invested, and money and resources. Let's not forget that as well. It is a challenge, but it's very possible, and it works for people, not just for those who live in different towns or different cities, but people who live in different states, even different countries. With the change of technology as far as online, resources, dating sites, matrimonial sites, whether it's meeting friends or family, however you go about meeting someone, people are learning to expand their net of options, and they're being really open-minded to expanding their net of options. But the problem is sometimes you get caught in talking mode. right? And that's the reality of online or long distance relationships, is that you can definitely get caught up in talking mode, and that you have to be more action oriented and be more proactive when it comes to the relationship. So I'm going to get into those 5 tips, and that's actually going to touch base on the first one. So let's just get on in. So what are 5 major keys to long distance courtship? As I already said, it can be a challenge, right? It's going to require different tools, different aspects of you that might take a little bit longer to surface in a relationship or a courtship or even a marriage that's in closer proximity, right? If you are living in the same town or city, or even just, in a closer proximity to someone, you don't rely as much when it comes to communication. So communication is definitely a major key, and we're going to get to that. That's actually my number 2. But that number one thing that you're going to have to do in order to have success at a long distance courtship is to have goals set, planned, and execute. Okay? Let me say that again for you. Have goals, more than one, goals set, planned, and executed. Okay? Those are such an important notes for you to have to write down and to remember. And excuse me, I'm a little tongue-tied today. It's still early in the morning. But those 3 things are going to be super important as the number one way to have success at long distance courtship. First of all, you need goals in mind, right? And not just a goal for marriage. You need goals for travel. You need goals for when you're going to actually, talk to Wakil or make certain moves or sit down and discuss certain things. Goals for premarital counseling, right? You have to have some type of timeline in mind. And it doesn't have to be strict, right? Because no timelines in reality operate in a strict way, right? Because we have very flexible lives, things happen, but you want to operate within guidelines. Guidelines are more important than timelines, right? So you want to make sure that you have some type of guidelines of like, okay, let's talk about what does this look like? How do you envision this going? How would we move here? How would we make this happen? You want to make sure that you have real goals in mind. I always tell people that long distance relationships have to have short-term goals, right? There has to be things that are immediate goalpost markers in order for you to feel confident and secure and actually see the relationship progressing. If you're not working towards goals, if things aren't moving forward, if you don't have these little milestones of achievements, you'll feel like you're wasting your time, or you will be wasting your time. It's so easy to let months go by, even years in some cases, of just talking, emotional attachments, but nothing is actually moving forward. So it's very important that you have those goals in mind and that you have some type of plan in order. How is it going to happen? How much is it going to cost? When is it going to happen? Who's going to do what? It doesn't have to be, like I said, it doesn't have to be so strict and hard up, but you want to actually have some type of idea. It's always great if the man is the planner, because that allows him to be in that pursuing role. No woman feels good when she's constantly planning and pushing and having to assert the situation. And I'll use the word assert and not aggress, because those have 2 different contexts. But it's very important that the man is just as much involved, if not more involved, when it comes to planning. And most of all, parties have to execute. Now, execution can come in so many different ways depending on what it is that we're talking about, but you have to actually do it. So having a goal is great. Having a plan is even better. But if you're not executing, if you're not following through, if you're not committing to the steps that you have to take, you are wasting your time. So in order to have success, the number one thing you must do is have goals, set, planned, and execute. Number 2. Now, number 2, I have a lot of things to share with you for number 2. So number 2 is managing communication. Managing communication. Okay. Now, I would actually put that as number one. But having goals, if you don't have a goal in mind and you're not planning and executing, then the communication doesn't really matter, because that means that you're just communicating without any real intention or purpose. So communication is so important. And the thing with a long distance courtship or marriage or whatever the relationship is that it relies solely on faith and communication, right? Those are the two things that a long distance relationship is made up of: faith and communication. Faith that it's going to work out, faith that you're going to see each other, faith that you're going to actually be with each other one day, right? And then communication around the things that actually matter. When you're in close proximity with someone, you can kind of dodge certain questions, certain aspects of different people's personality, because you might not be talking as much. You might see each other in person, spend time with each other's families, maybe hook up at different events and things like that. So you're not relying as much on communication to manage the relationship. The good thing with that is, because you're relying so much on communication, you tend to get to learn and to know a lot more about each other quicker than you do in a relationship where you don't have to focus on communicating. Like, for example, I'm hoping no one is relying on sex, to get their relationship through. But let's just have an honest discussion really quickly. If it's a relationship where both parties are, of course, both parties, but the parties are sexually active, right? Or they're dating a lot or whatever it is, they don't have to spend as much time communicating. They'll communicate in the small time frames that they're actually with each other on the phone, but they rely more on physical and going out and having fun, right? But the thing with the long distance situation is that you're relying so much on communication. So knowing how to manage that is going to be the challenge. Now, when you're actually with each other, you can then, have so much fun in person and spending time and all that other good stuff. But prior to that, it's going to be so much communication, and that can either go left or it can go right. So some tips when it comes to how to successfully manage communication is one, is to have regular communication, but not excessive, right? Regular, but not excessive. So, you want to have regular communication where maybe, you guys talk to each other every morning. Maybe you talk to each other every night. Maybe it's on lunch breaks or when someone is driving home from work, whenever that time is. But you want to kind of have a regular and consistent schedule with when you communicate. Why? Because that gives that other person something to look forward to. It makes them feel connected to you. And it's a way to establish some type of routine and regularity where the relationship feels normal. If it's inconsistent communication, if it's broken communication, right, it's not going to feel like a positive relationship. That person no longer has something to look forward to. So whatever works for the individuals works for them. Every situation is going to be different. It might be a text message twice a day and a phone call in the evening. It might be, a phone call in the morning, a phone call at night, phone call in the afternoon, text at night, whatever works for you, and you might use video, right? Video works, right? Now, some people might say, oh, you shouldn't be videoing men or women when you're Muslims and you're... Look, that's your business. Do what you want to do. You're grown. I don't have time to regulate adults. But if you do use video, right? Video is great, especially when it comes to handling conflict, because you can actually see the person. You can read their body language, and handling conflict through text really isn't the best way to go. Conflict through text messages, usually things get lost in translation. It can come off really cold and harsh. So using voice notes, voice recordings, using video, actually talking on the phone, right? Because you should be talking on the phone to the person, not just texting. Phone calls are very important. Men, especially for women like to hear the sound of your voice. It does something for a woman to connect with you. So all that just sending text messages is not going to fly, especially in a long distance situation. She needs to hear you. She needs to see you. And even email. Sometimes you might have something that's really on your heart, whether it's good or bad, right? Because all this doesn't have to be negative, right? It can be something that you really feel like, wow, this person really making me feel good. And you want to send them a nice email or a nice, love letter, quote unquote. Those are great things to do. A nice email randomly out the blue can really wake someone up and make them feel connected to you. So make sure that you are using different modes of communication and that you're keeping communication regular, but not excessive. You don't have to talk to one 5 or 6 times a day. You don't have to text them all throughout the day. You don't have to video them 3 or 4 times a day, right? You just want to make sure that it's some form of regular communication so both parties can feel connected, but you can continue to live your lives however you normally live it. The next part of managing communication is making sure that you are having honest and transparent communication. That cannot be stressed enough. It is so easy to break trust and it's so hard to earn back. So you want to make sure that you are being honest and transparent, even when it's hard. The good thing is if someone's really committed to a long distance situation, they're really trying to get to know you and be patient with you. They're already open-minded to who you are. They already see something great in you, which is the reason why they're willing to withstand a long distance relationship. So you honor that by being honest and transparent with them, even when it's hard. What you don't want to do is withhold information or not tell the whole truth. And then when someone marries you, they're finding out different things, or, things start to surface on their own, or you get caught in lies. It just doesn't make for a good situation. It really, really will spoil something that could be fabulous. So always stick to honesty. Honesty is always the best policy, and it's so important for building a strong foundation for when you actually do get married. Both parties want to feel like they know who they're marrying. The next part of managing communication is dig deep and dig with intention. So when we say dig, don't mean pry or investigate or interrogate, but more so ask questions that matter, right? You always want to start with a person's childhood, right? Try to understand who their family is, right? How were they raised? What's the culture and the environment of the house that they were raised in? What are their friends like? Where do they spend their time? Like, ask questions that matter. Don't fill up all the time talking about Netflix and chilling, or talking about, insignificant things that don't really matter. You really want to get to the root of who this person is to make sure that they are marriage material, and make sure that there's someone that you want to marry. Because once you actually marry and move forward, or relocate, you want to feel confident that you know what you're signing up for. So make sure that you're asking the good questions. And that's why I highly, highly suggest premarital counseling, whether it's with counseling professionals, a quality imam who knows what he's doing, or even family members that you feel as though you can really trust, but doing some type of counseling session to make sure that you are really clear on what expectations are and how to move forward. The next thing is make sure that you're sharing, right? People want to be in long distance situations. People want to be in relationships, but they don't want to share their life. They don't want to let people know what's really going on in their life. They don't want to share with them, how their day went, or family stuff that's going on, or whatever it is, right? You want to be an open book. You want to be a free-flowing river. I caught my tongue a little bit. But you want to make sure that you are sharing with them. Let them into your world. Maybe you can do something like, while you're out and about, do a video, show them what your area looks like, give them a little taste of what your daily routine is, right? But you want to make sure that person is involved and engaged, so they have a little bit more of you, so they can feel more connected to you, right? So that's a great aspect of communications. Make sure that you're really sharing with that person so that you guys are building a bond, right? And the last part with managing communication is to know each other's schedules. Now, I know sometimes, especially for men, right, they don't want to be questioned, or they don't want to feel like someone knows their every move. But knowing someone's schedule actually brings a level of security and comfort. And it's not too much to ask for when you're talking about being in a long distance situation, because if someone lived in close proximity to you, they would know, okay, on Tuesdays, he goes to martial arts. On Fridays, he goes to Juma. On Thursdays, he goes to class, whatever it is, right? That person would know your schedule. So be willing to share your schedule so that someone can have an idea of when to communicate with you, when not to, what your day is like, things you're involved in. And it's just open communication. So it's going to make both parties a lot more comfortable. So make sure that you are being mindful of sharing and letting the other person into your schedule as well. Right. So number 1, goals, set, plan, and execute. Number 2 is manage communication. Number three is something that's often forgotten. And it's something that's super important in order to bring a higher level of security and build a stronger foundation in the relationship. And that number 3 thing is to make sure that you are including family and friends. Make sure that you are including your family and your friends. You know, if you really desire someone, you really want to make it work. A relationship is never just between those two people, whether we like it or not. When you marry someone, you are marrying their family, right? The bride is marrying that groom's family. The groom is marrying the bride's family. So you want to make sure that your family is involved, you know, whether that's a phone call, video, maybe when they come to town, that you bringing them around your family or you're going around theirs, whatever it is. But families have to be included. That's going to give a sense of grounding. That's going to give a sense of reality so that both parties really feel as though, they're getting to know each other. Their families are bonding. They're incorporated. Their mother, their father, their aunts, their sisters, their friends, their children, whoever knows who this person is. And they feel a lot more connected to that whole entire big picture that this is a marriage or that we're working towards a serious relationship. So make sure that you are including your family and friends in the process and be open to that. Like, you can't say that you want something serious and then when it's time to be more open and include your family and friends, you don't want to involve them because you want to just keep it to yourself. That means that you're not fully committed and ready. So you have to push yourself. And I know it is a challenge and it is scary to involve your family in your relationships, but that's the next step. So once you get to a certain point, maybe after the first time that you visited and you met, or maybe even before that, depending on your timeline, your courtship code, and how things are going, you want to make sure that you absolutely include your family and your friends. And even if you are in close proximity courting someone, make sure that you're involving your family and friends. Make sure that they meet them, that you spend time around them. So it's really a family situation. Like I said, when you're marrying, you are merging families together. You are merging generations, and you can't have a strong marriage with just those two and families not involved. I mean, maybe you can. I have seen it happen very few times. Most successful marriages, you will notice that the families do have some type of interaction. I'm not saying that they spend every holiday together or anything like that, but there's a relationship with the mother, the father, or something, so that, the man or the woman, they know that they are somewhat embraced or at least open to a relationship with the opposite party's family. Number 4 is work together when it comes to time and money. Now, this is something that might be a little non-traditional, but of course, we always assume and feel as though the man should automatically pay for whatever that first trip is. Either he's going to travel or he's going to pay for her to travel, whatever. And that is absolutely the best situation, ideally. But let's say the people are young or finances just aren't there, but you really want to make it work, right? You're going to have to find a way to come together. And this is a great test for your relationship. Can you put money together? Can you work towards a goal together? Can you manage each other's time? Can you come up with some type of plan that works for both of you? Now, I'm not saying automatically you have to go 50-50 on a trip, but you can. It's totally up to you and whatever your comfort level is. No one can dictate that for you. If you want a man to pay for everything, that's perfectly okay. If you want to pay for yourself for everything, that's so that you don't feel obligated, that's perfectly okay too. If you want to go 50-50, 60-40, whatever you want to do that's comfortable for you in your situation, based upon the assessment that you make of your relationship, your finances, and your time frame, you do what works for you. But make sure that you're doing something that you feel comfortable with and that you're content with, so that you will, continue down that path and not feel any type of regret or resentment in case it doesn't work out. So Number 4, absolutely work together, right? So once you have the planning, you're executing, once you figure out how to manage communication and you build a nice foundation, now you're including your family and friends. The next thing that you really want to work together when it comes to managing money and time and bringing the relationship forward. The last thing that I'm going to share with you today is find ways to give and to bond. That's number 5. Find ways to give and to bond. Now, what do I mean by that? You want to know what that other person's love language is, right? So for those of you who have never read the 5 love languages, you can look up that book. It's an excellent book. And it really explains how different people see love, right? Everyone sees love differently. So you want to kind of cater to those love languages, and you can still do that from a distance, right? If you really like this person, you're really into this person, you guys are bonding, you're planning trips and everything, think about ways that you can give to them and create a deeper bond with them through those love languages, right? I'm not saying you have to buy fancy gifts or do anything that's extreme, but understand how this other person feels and receives love and how they give love as well, and be open to doing that so that you're continuing to create a deeper bond. So if that person's love language is gifts, send them something really small. It could be a small package, it could be a book, right? It could be something so minor. It doesn't have to be anything big, but you giving that small little gift, just because, or a birthday or whenever it is, that's going to really mean something to that person. It's going to make them feel more connected to you. Maybe you give them a gift when you actually see them. Maybe when they come to town, you make sure that you do that, right? If their love language is affirmations, you make sure that you compliment them, that you say good things, that you're making them feel good so that they feel more connected to you, right? If their love language is acts of service, right? Find ways that you can assist them. Just because you're not there with them doesn't mean you can't assist them with things. Maybe they could need help studying for a class. Maybe they could need some help researching or finding information on something, right? There are different ways that you can be of service to someone from a distance. You can always be there, right? So find a way to build a bond with them through that love language, right? You might not be able to cater to the physical touch, right? But there might be something else that I don't know what the solution to that is. Maybe a selfie. I don't know. But, you can find ways, sometimes with the physical touch, maybe just doing video chats. And like I said, people have their different, not doing video. That's up to you. But if you are someone who will, sometimes just being able to see your physical presence might be enough to fill the void of the physical touch temporarily, right? And then what's the other one? What am I forgetting? I can't think of it, but quality time. Quality time is the last love language that I'm forgetting. And as I said earlier, you make time, manage communication, right? Quality time is also another one that's pretty easy to do from a distance, right? Maybe you can make some time where you guys both watch a movie on Netflix at the same time. So you can, video and watch a movie on Netflix where he's on his screen, you're on your screen, and you guys can kind of comment and talk and share about it. Maybe you guys, make time, make sure that you really sit down like an hour to video and really get to have some quality time together and talk, right? However it is, that you figure out what to do so that you're bonding, you feel like you're getting time together, you make sure that you give that person time, right? This is a relationship. It's an investment. It's a courtship, right? And I'm not saying treat it like a boyfriend or girlfriend or thing, because that's why you absolutely want to have family involved, have a wakil involved, and you want to have some goals in place so that you're moving forward. But in long distance, you definitely want to marry someone that you feel confident that you know what you're signing up for. So take your time with it, enjoy the process. And of course, I'm always telling you to take the balanced middle ground. I cater to American Muslims in the West, so I understand that we can't be too far left or too far right. So I do think that it's very important to communicate with someone and get some type of time with someone before you marry them. Not too freely and too loosely, but you do want to make sure that you know who you're marrying and what you're signing up for, and that you always involve a third party, and that you're moving things forward towards the proper goal. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for listening to episode 10. Can you believe we're on episode 10? Love you guys so much for all the support. But we are finish for episode 10 today, and the 5 major keys of long distance courtship. Again, make sure that you hit that favorite button, subscribe, like, share, comment. Make sure that you are sharing with your friends and family members, share on your social media, comment on the YouTube channel or on our Instagram. Let us know your thoughts. If you benefited from this information, let us know. We love to hear feedback, guys. And head over to blackmuslimsinglesociety.com. Use the discount code FALLINLOVE to save $10 on a basic profile listing. Get that 30-minute interview done, fill out the background intake application, and get in our system so we know who you are and what you're looking for. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll catch you next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.